Okay, this is a video update for the Hardiman at the Clubhouse at Tall Timbers. Here's our serial number. I'll be looking that up for you. Interestingly, the instrument is made specifically for Steinert and Sons, which is a flagship Steinway store in Boston, which is still in business, so that's pretty neat. We have some age-related fatigue, like this crack in the bridge here. We also have an open face pin block, which is typical for its time, but pretty remarkable for today. The soundboard's in decent shape. I see one stress line there, and there's, what you'd expect in the bass bridge. There's some hairline cracks, but overall, it's remarkable for its age. And this is like a 1899 piano. We saw some signatures and the birth date of the piano right here. Those are some early technicians. And there's the birthday. So the top one would be when it left the factory, and the bottom one would be when it was tuned in the home. And yeah, that's 1899. I will also look up the serial number in the piano atlas. So when a piano is this old, she is politely referred to as a grandma piano. And if grandma has lived to be 120 years old, smoking cigars every day, just let her. So there are clicking, rattling, rubbing, knocking, buzzing symptoms that we are ill-advised to do anything about because we will be opening a can of worms. And the reality of an old piano is that rebuilding an old piano is a crime of passion, and it is only financially sound if it's a Steinway, because Steinway's still in business, so you can get parts. That's why they hold their antique value. That being said, old pianos are incredibly overbuilt. You're not going to get a piano from 2023 that's around in 100 years, let alone 60 years. It'll start falling apart. So the piano is extremely high tension, which gives it great character. The wood quality is why we have such robustness at this age, because the trees that they cut down 120 years ago were 200 years old, and they were local. So the trees were from New York, and they've seen a fair share of winters. That being said, this piano is whole step flat, even more, a little bit more, but she's in tune with herself. If we tried to bring her up to A440, we'd be doing maybe 4 or 5 tunings, and we'd be breaking wires every single time, and that would be ripping the can off our can of worms. So we're ill-advised to push her too far. But she's much more playable with herself, but we're floating the A. So that means if you're going to play mandolin or guitar or violin, you'll have to detune that instrument. Although you might get away with just transposing, it's probably close enough to enjoy it as a whole step flat. In other words, B440 instead of A440. So some concerns about placement. We do have this heater behind the instrument, and that's going to hurt the soundboard. But it's been here forever, so I'm not sure what's worth doing about it. We can put cardboard behind the instrument. You can either try to get some sort of metal sleeve to direct the heat away from to the sides, try to not make that heat direct onto the piano, or you can put cardboard behind the piano. There's not a lot of light to see what we're talking about here. You want to put some cardboard from here all the way down, and that's just to keep that direct heat from getting to the soundboard, which is in these concaves. Moving the piano to do any of that will disturb the tuning. So we're trying to do anything, leaving the piano exactly where it is. She's very old, and moving her will jiggle her and twist things and likely lose parts of the tuning. So let's not move her to do any of that. If we decide to relocate her, I don't know, maybe over there might be room, but she's pretty well grounded where she is. There's an old wives' trick for keeping moisture in the piano that would be very good to do for the instrument, especially since it's against a heater. The piece of wood that sits in front of our knees when we're playing, that's called the front door. And all of this free space here on the bottom board of the piano, you can put mason jars, as many as you can fit. Mason jars filled with water when the heat is on, and that will evaporate just into the piano. The front door is very easy to take on and off. Let me see if I can find a place to film this. I'm flying blind here. I have no idea if we're getting this on camera or not. The front door is on dowels. The dowels will go in to where they sit in the cabinet of the instrument.